Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. It's going to be a fun one today. We're talking about Robert Rodriguez movies, and it's going to be interesting to see what list happens here because he's had an interesting career. I'll just say that. But Jonathan, we've got Jonathan here. How's it going?
Doing good, Malcolm. Very good. Very good. Like you said, Robert Rodriguez has a fascinating film career. It's just from a low budget to a higher budget around here. Depends on his show, directs and wrote and edits his own films, majority of them for the most part, and basically does with his own company, which Filmmaker Studios. And I always admired him as a filmmaker. Doesn't mean I love every film it is, no, but I always admire his respectability and workmanship that he does as a filmmaker. So I'm very intrigued to talk about his filmography.
We've also got Steve Mesa here. Steve, how's it going?
So doing well. Trying to, I kind of want to get through this before my internet crashes on me. So whatever Jonathan said, I know I heard most of what Jonathan said, so I second what he says.
And last but not least, we've got Nick. Nick, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great, man. Very happy to do this. Robbie Rod's one of my favorite filmmakers. I'm glad I've gotten another Rankum that I know at least something about. Didn't require a whole lot of research on my part. I've seen most of them. So let's go.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen most of them, but then I found a whole bunch of blind spots. I had a whole bunch of blind spots, which I covered most of them this week. But with that, how Rankum works is they each go around and nominate a movie that we think belongs on a top 12 list. Because we've only got 4 people, the person nominating their vote is not going to matter too much when it comes to the nominating. So it's come down to the other 3 people on the panel whether it makes list or not. Going to go to Jonathan first. Jonathan, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
So I'm going to go my personal favorite film of his filmography, and this is the one as some majority of the audience's favorite film of his filmography. I'm going to go 2005's Sin City. This is not only my favorite film of his, it's one of my favorite films that based translated well to a graphic novel and basically is nearly a victory of the adaptation process. I prefer this over Watchmen or even 300, pretty much all graphic novel turned adaptations. He poses a great way to shoot it along with it, and basically great uses of digital cameras about sort of the noir scenes, even tiny spots of shots in areas along with it, even tiny spots when he does. When Rodriguez does like his 10-minute film school on his bonus features of Sin City, he does where there's a great uses of basically how to use the green screen, use digital cameras very well, even tiny scenes along with it, even some spots where he splits with the blood and the characters itself along with it. I love the character. My favorite character in the film is Marv, played by Mickey Rourke, and there's a little tough rhyminess to it along with it. It was a great vibe for what he got from Frank Miller's graphic novel of it. So I would put not only my favorite film of his is I would put my selection for Sin City.
Steve, what do you say about Sin City?
Yes.
Nick, what do you say about Sin City?
This was number 2 on my personal list. I think that this movie is great, and it like you said, Jonathan, it's much better than 300 or The Watchmen. So, absolutely.
Yeah, I rewatched Sin City first. I haven't seen this since a long time. I can't remember when I watched it. I think it might have been when I got the DVD of it, because I got these special extended DVD cut they did where they expanded on a lot of these segments and stuff as well, and which is pretty good as well. But yeah, Sin City is just really good, and yeah, it's easily my favorite of his too. So Sin City's going to make this list. Steve, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
Well, people say the best Day of the Dead movie is Coco. But personally, my personal favorite and my favorite Day of the Dead movie is Once Upon a Time in Mexico. This was a movie that one I love this movie because one, it's like literally takes place the day before my birthday because I was born on All Souls Day, so November 2nd, November 1 kind of becomes like a 2-day holiday for itself. So, and then you have this stacked cast. You have Johnny Depp, you have Willem Dafoe, uh, Enrique Iglesias, a whole buttload of people in there, and it's Antonio Banderas, just taking names and kicking ass. It is my favorite of all the El Mariachi trilogy. That's why I would pick those. But I love Desperado. I love El Mariachi. But if I'm gonna pick out of the three, I'm gonna pick Once Upon a Time in Mexico as my favorite.
Nick, what do you say about Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
Again, another hard agree on that one. I do enjoy this movie quite a bit, not as much as I enjoy some of the other ones in the Mariachi trilogy, but it's still pretty great. That one sequence where Antonio Banderas' character goes like off the motorcycle into the Corvette is one of the most impressive stunt sequences I've ever seen. So, got to give that props to this movie. Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually watched this for the first time for this. Like, for the longest time, I hadn't seen the Mexico trilogy at all, and I like to think of Antonio Banderas' characters of El Mariachi as the Mexican equivalent of John Wick because it's pretty much what it is. But it's just him killing a whole bunch of people. And yeah, it's just a really fun time. So it's not. This isn't my personal favorite out of the trilogy. I'll probably bring that one up later, but it's still a really good movie. I can see why everyone's been holding these movies in high regard. Jonathan, what do you say about Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
I'll give it a yes, even though not my favorite of the El Mariachi trilogy. I still prefer Desperado as my favorite, but still a very good film. It's a very solid movie, and Johnny Depp plays greatly. And basically, when he was blind throughout the films, he basically had to do sort of his gun work when all his eyes a little blooded up. So basically, he had to do like great gun work throughout the film when he does it. And also, my favorite behind the scenes tidbit, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, is basically when Salma Hayek and basically sort of rescued El Mariachi right here. They shot like separate days, and basically when the camera quickly turns, it's from a different day, and basically he does it so fast. It was one of my favorite uses of great digital work without even noticing it's digital. So basically, it's a little tiny details. I admired that portion of the film. It does it very well. So I'll give it a yes on Once Upon a Time in Mexico, even though it's not my favorite El Mariachi trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the other one may come up later. Nick, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
So first one I'm going to bring up is From Dusk Till Dawn. I do think that this movie is just like a really compelling crime drama for like 75% of it. I always like to joke that it's a Quentin Tarantino movie in the first like hour and a half, and then when we get into the climax is when it becomes a Robert Rodriguez film when the vampires suddenly pop out. Kind of wish that was kept under wraps. I feel like it would have been a great surprise for most people who saw the movie. Probably the first people who saw it were taken for a loop when that happened. So yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, I saw this for the first time earlier this year. I mean, I like the movie. I think it's good. It's not as good as I was hoping to be. Like I've heard a lot of stuff about this. I thought it was going to be better than what it was, but I think it's still good enough to be in here. So it's a yes for me. Donovan, what do you say about From Dusk Till Dawn?
I'll get this. Yes, is one of my favorite vampire movies. One of my funnest vampire films I ever watched. And basically, I brought that up one time many months ago, talking about vampires. So I got shut down, so got a no on that one. But still, I enjoyed this movie so much. It was a great makeups of that by keep forgetting who did those makeup for the vampire.
Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, Greg Nicotero. Thank you. And then also he's also in the film, so basically that's also a plus on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great makeup work vampire along with it. Like Nick said, the first half is definitely a Quentin Tarantino film. Basically, he kind of co-wrote the script, so basically, I can feel like he wrote the first half of the film, The second half, I think Rodriguez wrote the second half of it. So basically, it was a good blend of both filmmakers' sort of stylings a little bit without feeling jarring, without escaping the other. So it's a great blend of basically the brothers by Clooney itself felt very well. And he's a perfect prick in the film, so basically it plays it in very well. And I will get see yes for Dust Till Dawn.
And Steve, what do you say about From Dusk Till Dawn?
I mean, it's a definite yes. This was my favorite Robert Rodriguez movie until Sin City. So like this held up on the top honor until Sin City took over, in my opinion. It's number 2 on my list. I mean, you got Fred Williamson, dude, the badass motherfucker Fred Williamson. You have Tom Savini, you have Cheech Marin, and we talked about Julia Lewis and Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro and Quentin Tarantino, but let's not forget the one, the only Selma freaking Hayek. I mean, this was around the time in '96 where I was, coming of age and things started happening, and I saw Selma Hayek on TV, and I'm like, I think I'm in love. I think I'm in love. But also, I want to add a little note. The DVD, the double-decker DVD that they had that came out in like 2000, came out with an excellent behind-the-scenes feature that was like an hour and a half of From Dusk Till Dawn. I don't know if it's available on YouTube at the moment, but if you guys have those old discs, that's worth checking out. I believe it's on the second disc of that DVD.
But that From Dusk Till Dawn is going to make the list. And on to me for my first pick there. And yeah, I'm going to go for a movie that I think I really hope becomes a trilogy eventually. And it's a lot of fun. Like it stars one of Robert Rodriguez's Good Luck Charm. But I'm not going to go for the one you think I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for Machete Kills, the second one in the series, because I love both of these movies, and I think Machete Kills is just a tad bit better than the first one. And I really hope we get Machete Kills in space. Just for the fun of it. And yeah, this is just a fantastic movie. Like Carlos Estevez debuting as the president is really good. But yeah, it's just one of those movies. Once again, very similar in vein to the El Mariachi. Like Machete is also like taking what was done in El Mariachi and just bringing it over to this Machete franchise too. And it's just one of those ones like no one ever thought that they were ever going to make a movie based on the fake trailer in Grindhouse, let alone for that to get a sequel. But yeah, I think Machete Kills is really good, and I'm bringing it up. But Jonathan, what do you say about Machete Kills?
I had no choice. Unfortunately, I had to give it a no. I surprisingly did not enjoy this movie. I'll be 100% honest with it because even though I do like the first one a tab more, but even then it was a little bit thin thread of it, not by much. No, I think he basically took like a B movie aesthetic later on, tried to do it, but I think he kind of way too far with it. It just it's not sort of enjoyable compared to others. So I would get a sort of a no on that one for Machete Kills.
Steve, what do you say about Machete Kills?
I say I give it a yes, because one of the things that I always go with my picks is there's a lot of favoritism when it goes with my picks, and I'll tell you why I say yes. Now, while in my opinion is not as good as the first Machete, it's just maybe a tad bit, on the level lower there. But the fact that I got to interview Danny Trejo for Machete Kills gives this movie extra brownie points. And plus, you also have Alexa Vega, the young woman who was in the Spy Kids movie, show up in a different, and you also have what? You have Walter Goggins as El Chameleon, or I think that's Lady Gaga's character. But Lady Gaga, you also have Sofia Vergara with those weapons reminiscent of Austin Powers. But yes.
Yeah. Um, I was just going to cut in there but Walton Goggins, Lady Gaga, and Antonio Banderas are essentially all the same character. They're all our chameleon.
Okay, there you go.
There's but I think with Lady Gaga, she's credited as La Chameleon, but just because of the Mexican gender things like L is male, La is female. I think that's how it goes. I'm not assuming I know everything.
It's been a while. Like the last time I saw it was in theater, so it's been a while since I watched it. But just look at the cast; it's a great cast.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Charlie Sheen has a cast listed as Carlos Estevez.
That was the joke I made earlier. I know. I think we all know it's Charlie Sheen, but I'm pretty sure in the movie it goes introducing Carlos Estevez.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Nick, what do you say about Machete Kills?
I've not seen this movie. This is one of the rare Robert Rodriguez movies I haven't seen. But since it does involve Danny Trejo, and since it is basically a spin-off of two separate movies, Spy Kids and Grindhouse, you do have to give it a yes, I think. So, yeah.
That Machete Kills does make the list. Ben, Jonathan, go back to you. What is your next nomination?
I'm gonna go like an unconventional Rodriguez film, and basically maybe underrated compared in his filmography, and it's sort of a whereas this is of his directing is like you sort of rarely see the compare throughout his films. So I'm gonna go with 1998's The Faculty, and the reason I picked that because this is sort of take a break basically from For Dust Till Dawn and Desperado, basically or the action films, sort of like a sort of a horror teen drama, like in the vein of like Scream around that time. It was also by the same brand by Kevin Williamson. And I felt Love was sort of like it's sort of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets The Thing, and basically, and there's a good, great meta narrative that's sort of like abduction, and basically the teachers basically got and turned it into like aliens, and basically, based on keep again what these fish little things called, but it infected one of those. And what he did with that film, I think it was a very unique idea that was a little smaller than we ever does before as a filmmaker. Is a little more imitated, a little horror base. And plus, one of my favorite parts of the film is basically when the teenagers doing sort of quote testing, basically along with it. At first, when a director in different hands might do this, it was gonna fell flat and it's gonna look cheesy, takes you out of the movie. But there's something about Rodriguez how he does it throughout the film. He looks a little cheesy, but it kept the tension very well, though. That's the part rarely in his films that he really does very well, though. And I do like the sort of the creature design when it gets to the final creature for In the Faculty. And I even like the team, I like the actors involved, like Elijah Wood, Josh Hartnett, and even some of the teachers in small parts like Jon Stewart and Famke Janssen in the film. So basically, I kind of admire the film and a little underrated compared to his filmography. So I'll give my nomination for The Faculty.
Steve, what do you say about The Faculty?
I would say definitely yes. I mean, The Faculty was something that I watched when I was growing up, and this is also co-written by Kevin Williamson, the guy who would who helped helmed Scream. So this was him. I believe this might have been his second script after Scream, if I'm correct. Hopefully,
Scream 2 afterwards, basically.
After, yeah, there you go. Okay, so it's around that same time, and it has a tremendous cast of who's who. I mean, we even have the great Oscar-nominated Piper Laurie, who was in Carrie. She's one of the teachers in there. I mean, it's just a who's of what the good thing about his movies. There's always a great cast to his films, no matter how good, bad, or indifferent they are. That's what I have to give props to. But yes, Faculty.
And
yes.
Nick, what do you say about The Faculty?
I will agree that the Book of Boba Fett has a great cast. I've not seen The Faculty, and so I don't really have any opinions on it. I've seen the trailer a lot, but I just have never gotten around to watching this movie. Not so totally married to it, so I'm going to give it a slight no. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
but yeah, I did watch The Faculty for this. Like, this is one that I knew eventually I was going to watch because I know our friend of the channel Austin Hell loves this movie. And when I saw it on the list of Robert Rodriguez movies, like, oh, I finally get a chance to watch this. And yeah, it's really great, and it's definitely one of those ones like getting Kevin Williamson on board to be to co-write this. Like, I think it was the smart choice. Not them don't trust Robert Rodriguez and bit like doing a teen horror movie on his own. Kevin Williamson has the like things because this is actually his fourth script after Scream because he did Scream and Scream 2 before that. And he also did I Know What You Did Last Summer. And he is uncredited for doing Halloween H2O, but I don't count that as his own. So this is his fourth script. And then after this he did Teaching Mrs. Tingle. but But yeah, The Faculty is great, and it's an easy yes for me. So yeah, Steve, we go back to you. What is your next nomination?
My next nomination is Planet Terror. This movie kicked off. I mean, okay, I believe that Grindhouse in entirely, I think, was an awesome experience. People were going to favorite Planet Terror, Death Proof over Planet Terror, but I think they're both one and the same. I enjoyed both these movies as as equals, and to have Rose McGowan have probably a great lead, a great lead, good juicy role that she hasn't had in a while. And she basically kicks all kinds of ass too. I mean, she, for the love of God, she has a freaking machine gun attached to her freaking leg. I mean, what this is that's the kind of idea that you would know from a Robert Rodriguez movie. I'm like, of course. Why didn't you think of that earlier? And you also have Bruce Willis, Quentin Tarantino. You have Marley Shelton. You also have Michael Parks and Freddie Rodriguez. So I'm gonna have also Tom Savini also and Greg Nicotero doing the makeup in this movie. So I'm gonna say yeah, I'm nominating Planet Terror.
Nick, what do you say about Planet Terror?
And 3 for 3. I've not seen Planet Terror. I did watch Death Proof because my brother owns it. I just haven't been able to get a hold of watching this one. But I do think it does have that like signature Robert Rodriguez kind of zany flavor to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and say yes to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like while I know people would like to argue, like, oh, this is only half a movie. The Grindhouse is a double feature thing. Like, they're two distinct, different movies. Like, you can argue them as one movie if you want. From my understanding of the Grindhouse experience, like, it's two movies in one. That because they had the fake trailers separating them two as well. And yeah, I mean, but it's one of those ones like I never got to experience them like the whole Grindhouse experience. They never did like that thing in New Zealand. Like we just got both movies as separate entities, and all that. But I really like Planet Terror. I think it's such a good movie. Um, and it's just one of those ones that I think will stand the test of time, honestly. Because and I love Rose McGowan, and when Steve was going like a big juicy, a big juicy role for Rose McGowan, that's not where I thought he was going with those words, um, but it was going, but even though Rose McGowan is very gorgeous, but yeah, Planet Terror is an easy yes for me as well. Jonathan, what do you say about Planet Terror?
I have a very interesting experience with Planet Terror. First off, the first time I saw Planet Terror, I actually many years back, like in 2017, like I think it was a Cinemax on it. They had the Grindhouse full movie. They had two movies on there, like Planet Terror and Death Proof. So I recorded on my DVR because it was running that point because I'm watching like Kurt Russell films, and I know Kurt Russell was in Death Proof on there because I recorded Grindhouse because he was doing Guardians 2 around that point. So I recorded that, and I watched the whole Grindhouse whole movie experience. And I will say this: they're both very good. And basically, when Planetary is supposed like sort of homogeneous like a B movie, what Death Proof is a B movie. So I think that's a one clear difference along with it. So, but that being all aside, and I both those films, I will give it a yes because. And the one thing what Malcolm said though, and I actually agree with it, I think it will stand the test of time because if you look at the behind the scenes type of stuff, basically when you mentioned Rose McGowan basically had to be in the lead, and basically by the minute I said him, it should not be named. Along with it, basically a fu to him, and basically and what he does, and basically what she does in the movie is really fantastic. And I love this great movie set, great makeup effects, and basically, and I didn't even mention one character who was actually creepy in the film, which is Josh Brolin, and basically plays like doctor really well though. And it was a great sort of a scratch record aesthetic when like Rodriguez shot it digitally. It was basically like kind of like when I have time, even the balls of tape, it basically just sort of stops. And I love the sort of aesthetic in the film, and especially what he does very well. And it was a good blend of the film. So I will get this yes for Planet Terror, and also a little fun fact, even though it's I know you didn't count like Grindhouse as the one movie. It's not considered, but I do like the sort of the fake trailers, like by Rodriguez, Rod Zombie, and Edgar Wright did. And Eli Roth basically does fake trailers, though. My personal favorite is Thanksgiving part of it. So thought that was a little bit fun of it. So just want to get that off my chest.
But Nick, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Okay, so I'm going to bring up a movie that I actually did really enjoy. I did see this one in theaters. I went with Alita Battle Angel. Thought this was just a great, fun ride for a movie that was originally going to be made by James Cameron. He kind of handed it off to Robert Rodriguez when he couldn't make the film. And Robert Rodriguez did an admirable job in putting the movie together. So I did think that, like, for that reason, Alita Battle Angel deserves to be on this list.
Yeah, Alita Battle Angel has, I believe, was in production since about 2005. I remember reading an article with that James Cameron did, where he was talking about this because he was saying it's been in production since 2005. He kind of passed it off because that's when he started going on to Avatar and movie doing that. But yeah, I watched it for the first time for this because I missed it when it first came out, and just and for the longest time I was just not really interested in seeing it. I was like, it's a big movie. It's probably going to come up. There's only so many spots on here, and I think there's room for and this would probably make it in here. I mean, I liked it. I think it was good. I'll give it a slight yes. Like it's not terrible, but yeah. Jonathan, what do you say about Lita Battle Angel?
So I'll get this a yes. It's very interesting about the film because it's supposed to be a James Cameron project for a very, very long time. And basically, he couldn't do it because he was doing the Avatar sequels. And basically, offered to Rodriguez because I felt like Cameron saw the basically he could do it with Rodriguez, basically with VFX work, similar to Cameron when he did like VFX work, not really the sensei, but also great lead female characters. Basically, I think the two had were great comic could correlate because of great female characters and basically, and then what he does right here with Leah Battle is an exception to that because Rose's Outside is fantastic along with it, and even the VFX eyes itself, it didn't get you jarring out in the movie. It was a good blend of it. It was a great lighting to go with it. It could have gone badly. So even though I missed this movie around theaters, though I'll be honest, I hadn't watched it like about like a year ago actually. And the first time I watched it, I actually really enjoyed the film along with it. It was a great visual world what Rodriguez does in the film, and they shot this around like Austin, Texas. So basically, after the scenes they look big, they actually shot like it's sort of his own studio along with it when he does it within the film. And I do like the role playing thing, and I do like the Alita's love interest in the film, and also I like the character by Christoph Waltz playing her father. So I thought it was fantastic when he did in the film. You know, he does leave it open ended for a sequel though, which the movie almost close to broken even. So it's still a very good film. It was one of the few like anime adaptations that they did very well. So I'll give this sort of a yes to Alita Battle Angel.
And Steve, what would you have said about Alita Battle Angel?
Yes.
That Alita Battle Angel does make the list. And it is on me. And yeah, I'm gonna go for this because I think we should get at least one of these movies on here. And I rewatched this. I actually rewatched this whole series for this week. And yeah, Spy Kids is a great franchise, especially for families. And I think the first movie was great. And I mean, look, I personally enjoyed the sequels as well. To a point, like the fourth one isn't as good. But I think the one that just dropped on Netflix actually steps it up and starts go back on a new trajectory. but but the first Spy Kids is the one we're talking about here, and it's just one of those ones like once again you bring back the mainstay of Antonio Banderas into here, and Danny Trejo playing as some people like to say, playing Machete again. He just never stopped playing Machete. He was just Machete all the way out. But I think Alexa Vega and Sabara are just great. They have great chemistry and all that, and just they clearly had a lot of fun making this movie. So, Spy Kids is what I'm going to bring up. Jonathan, what do you say about Spy Kids?
Funny enough, it get back to me. I was originally gonna put one of the Spy Kids on the list, so I'll get this a yes because I have a little bit more exposure, a little personal history with the Spy Kids movies because a long time ago is one of my very first Robert Rodriguez films that I got exposed at because, and also I used to watch this and even the sequel, the second one, almost every time I went on vacation around the mid 2000s, I put like a VHS inside a little mini TV and watched them constantly. So I enjoy them so much, and I do love the brother sister dynamic very well, for Carmen and Junie, and brings like a great, without being too kiddie or not being like dumb it down either. So it was a great counterbalance that was like, that he does in the movie, and I do like Alan Cumming in the film, and he's fantastic. It's sort of his arc throughout the film, basically. At the beginning, is like sort of like basically like a big little jerk to everyone else, but then the movie progresses, sort of a reason is slowly changing. When Junie kind of convinced him to basically kind of change along with it. So I do like that. Plus, one of my favorite gadgets I wish I have in real life, have a little one of those snack wrapper things that turn into a McDonald's treat. So I wish I could have had that in real life though. It was like one of those gadgets like I wish I had that in real life so I can constantly use it. So I will give this movie a yes for Spy Kids.
Nick, what would you have said about Spy Kids?
Just a fun riff on James Bond, but given it somewhat of a ethnic flavor and also going a little bit having some fun with it. So gonna give special mention to Tony Shalhoub. He was also there in the movie. It was great. Um, this whole cast is just amazing, and to see them all kind of play off each other. Touche Marin's there. I love the moment where he just decides to take off
Fake mustache.
the mustache. And he's just like, "Yeah, I'm not your uncle." It's just a great moment. So yeah, absolutely deserves to be on the list.
Yeah, Steve will be back as the net's just playing up, but for now, it'll just be the three of us. Spike is going to make the list. And Nick, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Okay. So this is the movie that I did put as the number one on my list. I do think that it is Robert Rodriguez's best film, and it is Desperado. I do think that it just kind of he basically just remade El Mariachi, but on a bigger budget and a bigger scale. And so it looks a little bit more professional than El Mariachi does. Granted, El Mariachi is a good movie, but it is shot on like a camera that costs like $15. So I do think that Desperado just has everything. Has the music, has the action, has all the characters and the urban legends that surrounds Antonio Banderas' character. So absolutely, Desperado.
Yeah, Desperado is easily my favorite of the Mexico trilogy. I mean, I've heard a lot of stuff about this, about a lot of people saying this is his best movie. Like, I disagree. Like, I like the movie. It's for me, it's still top five. It's just not his, like, Robert Rodriguez's best movie for me. And be it, but I love Desperado. It's still going to be yes for me. Jonathan, what do you say about Desperado?
Oh, let's play. This movie gets a yes. It's my second favorite out of his filmography, and this is my favorite out of his El Mariachi trilogy. And like I said, it took everything in great for El Mariachi, did remake it, but this time with a bigger budget. So basically, and I love the sort of the opening beginning when Banderas is singing along while kicking ass at the same time in a bar. So basically, cool and suave and in control the whole time. I love the bar fight scene. Basically, when he was doing with the guitar, I think it was just use a guitar as a weapon, but inside the guitar is a gun, machine gun. So basically, great like arms and techniques and basically coordination in the film, and basically just love throughout the film. And plus, I need to say Selma Hayek, which need I say more? Exactly. And basically, this movie gets a yes. And by the way, Mesa, I hope you're listening to this. Remember I mentioned about Let's Play right here? They played the music as sort of like the intro thing when they started like the three brothers basically during the gunfight in the shootout. The music was so good though that Eric Bessel lit that from it for his entrance music in WCW. So basically, it just tone of that little bit music. If you listen to it very carefully. So this was a little cool fun fact along with it. So I'll get this yes for Desperado.
But Steve, very quickly, what would you say to Spikers, and what are you going to say to Desperado?
Well, let's make a yes sandwich for both of them. Yeah, man. Spy Kids. A brief word on Spy Kids. Spy Kids. It's definitely was launched at a time where you didn't have a lot of vehicles for live action kids movies. 2001 was a very barren space for those type of movies, and Robert Rodriguez created a space for Troublemaker Studios. Yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Also, Carlo Gugino. Enough said. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Desperado, yeah, man. The opening sequence, every action sequence in that movie, the one in the hotel where they're swinging by their wrists, it's top. It's probably one of the top 10 action sequences in the 90s. And yeah, there's not much more to be said about that. So yeah, yes for Desperado, and yes for Spy Kids.
That Desperado does make the list. I mean, Spikers also made the list just for clarification, but yeah,
I would think so, but
yeah, no, it's all good. I just in case you thought it wasn't, but Steve, we'll go back quick to you. What movie are you going to bring up?
Listen, you couldn't have Desperado if you didn't have El Mariachi. El Mariachi was a movie that got Robert Rodriguez onto the path where he is today, and you also the making of El Mariachi was also based on had a book called Rebel Without a Budget, and that book itself is a how-to guide on how to make films for a lot less money than it was back in 1982, 1981, around that time. That was a great book. That was a great movie. It gave us even better movies as the trilogy progressed. But like I said, without El Mariachi, you wouldn't have Desperado or Once Upon a Time in Mexico. So I think it definitely deserves to be on that list.
Nick, what do you say about El Mariachi?
I'm inclined to agree with that. It's not necessarily high up on that list, but it does deserve to be on the list. It's my first experience watching like a very low budget film, but it just sucks you in with the kind of story that it's telling, and it's just a great ride from start to finish. And like Steve was saying, we don't get the rest of Robert Rodriguez's career without this movie. So absolutely, yes.
Yeah, if there's a logic that I really hate a lot, whenever anyone's talking about movies, like, oh, this movie kicked everything off, so it has to be on here because it kicked everything off. The movie El Mariachi wasn't that great. It was fine at best. We've got the two best movies from that trilogy on here already. I'm going to say no to El Mariachi. Jonathan, what do you say about El Mariachi?
A little bit more sporadic spots. I'll give it a yes, though, even though it's a sort of like lowest budget you can get, and basically he'll do better, way better than his other with Desperado. Like I mentioned, even with Desperado, it's the same film with a bigger budget. And basically, when you watch Machi, it's a good starting point. And I'd say a great film, but I'll give it a yes for that, just for that parameter, basically.
But if that El Mariachi does make the list regardless, it comes back to me. Where do I want to go? Got 2 spots left. I'm going to try for this and see what happens. Look, say what you want about Shark Boy and Lava Girl. The movie was fun, but that's not the one I'm bringing up. I'm actually bringing up the Netflix sequel, We Can Be Heroes, where it shows them grown up, and with their kids and that. Because like because I rewatched Shark Boy and Lava Girl for this. I have a lot of fun with it. Like I'm of the opinion that Robert Rodriguez doesn't really have a lot of bad movies. Like but a lot of his earlier stuff, especially when it comes to Sharp on Love all time in the world, like I think they're at least fine. They just have to be at the end of the rankings. I'm not going to put them high, but I think We Can Be Heroes was a really good sequel, and it stars young Leia from Obi-Wan Kenobi in it, as the girl that was the daughter of a shark boy and lava girl. But Rugby Heroes was just fun because it showed, because while yes they did bring in Sharp on Lava, they weren't the focus of this movie. They were there like because they were captured and all that, but it comes down to the kids and showing them sort of trying to work together and save their parents and stop this alien invasion. And I just think it really worked as a sequel. It's a sequel I never expected to that I'd ever get, because I know Shark Boy and Lava Girl was just one of those movies that just not a lot of people really like. But it's a fun kids movie. But the sequel I think is really good. Jonathan, what do you say about We Can Be Heroes?
I will give it a no because one reason I hadn't seen it. Sorry. And even I'm curious about it, and people tell me it was not worth it at all. Even it's barely a sort of a Sharp Boy Lava Girl sequel to begin with. So if you're going to say Sharp Boy Lava Girl, I might tentatively consider a yes, but you didn't. Give it a no.
Steve, what do you say about We Can Be Heroes?
I'm gonna have to say no because I also did not see We Can Be Heroes, and I also heard that it's not a great movie, so I didn't make any time to go watch it.
Nick, what would you have said about We Can Be Heroes?
SSDD, same story, different dude. I've not seen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect this to make it in anyway. But I will say, watch it, make your own minds up. Like, don't worry about what other people say about it. Just give it a shot. Who knows? Like, you might like it. But Jonathan, we go back to you. What is the next movie you're going to bring up? Got 2 spots left.
2 spots left. This is interesting. Which one should I choose? Okay. I have two in mind. The question is it usable? What? I'm gonna go my unconventional choice. And you mentioned earlier about the Spy Kids sequels. I'm gonna pick one of them, put on it, but the one I'm choosing is number two. I pick Island of the Dream of the Lost Dreams. I elaborate on that. This is the one, along with the first one, I watch constantly. Every time I go on vacation throughout mid 2000s to my family's beach house, and I enjoyed it very much of it. It took very good about the first one, and basically to like a very different location. Basically, you have rival kids, rival spy kids, basically with Gary and Gertie, and basically when he does in the film, like Junie's basically trying to be this had like number one spy kid while trying to impress the president's daughter along with it. And there was some really fun scenes. I love Steve Buscemi's character, this mad scientist, or accidentally caused this all over these creatures along with it, and basically it led to me my surprisingly favorite line in the film is says, "Do you think God stays in heaven that he is afraid of the things that he must be created?" There's something about that line that somehow I don't focus, but somehow really booty and on point in the movie. So even though and plus I'm a huge fan, Carl Montalban and Holland Taylor's appearance in the film though, and I thought they were great in that moment in that film, and basically just annoyed and talking about theirs throughout the when they trying to find their kids. And basically, that was the part. I always have a soft spot for the sequel, though. And even I kind of prefer than the first one, though. So I always have a little bit soft spot to it. So I'll get Spy Kids too.
Steve, what do you say about Spy Kids 2 Island of Lost Dreams?
I mean, this one, I'll say yes. I was alternating between two movies to make it onto the list, but I thought about Sin City, Danger Kill 4, and Spy Kids 2, and I think Spy Kids 2 is a little much more memorable and much more better in my opinion. So I'm gonna say yes. Yeah. To refer what Jonathan said, I think Steve Buscemi, coming back from his Desperado character and maybe being a scientist in this one, I thought it was good. I thought it was funny to see him in a kid-friendly movie because you don't see. You think Steve Buscemi, you're like, oh, foul mouth little guy, and like, oh man, Steve Buscemi in a family movie. Who'd have thunk? So yeah, I'm gonna give it a yes.
Nick, what do you say about Spy Kids 2?
Uh, yeah, so it's a really good movie. It is what I consider to be the best Spy Kids film. Even though it does kind of go a little bit too far into like the special effects and what they could do. Um, but I do think that it's still an entertaining movie. You have a lot of really good characters and a lot of really good moments. So yeah, it's a yes for me.
I mean, honestly, I think they did a good job of the special effects with the resources they had available to them.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that they're bad.
it's just more a
This
small.
is this is the bridge before we go too far with the next film and then Lava Girl. So
I mean, it's one of those ones like I mean, once again, like even defend Spy Kids 3, I think CGI worked for what they wanted to do for that movie. Even though Spy Kids 3 and Spy Kids Armageddon are basically the same movie, when you think about it. um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, like just to show my hand, I would have said yes to either Spy Kids 2 or Spy Kids 3, whichever one you brought up, Jonathan, because I the first three Spy Kids movie I really like. All the time in the world, like I have fun with. It's definitely the weakest of the four Journey and Carmen movies. And then Spy Kids Armageddon, like I will stand by this. I think it's a return to form for that franchise. Um, but um, but yeah, the second Spy Kids I think is equally just as good. And yeah, So yeah, it's going to be an easy yes for me as well. So Spy Kids 2 is going to make the list. We've got one spot left. Steve, what movie are you going to bring up?
I think if we're gonna do it, we're gonna sandwich it. I'm gonna bring up Machete. Robert Rodriguez takes makes a film out of a trailer that he did in Grindhouse. He actually did it, and we were all anticipating it from 2007 to 2011. We were like, when is he gonna 2010, right? All right, make a movie about Machete, and he finally did it. And he again assembles a great fucking cast. I mean, listen, whenever you see Jeff Fahey in a movie, I think you're in good hands, in my opinion, because I think Jeff Fahey is one of the most underrated character actors of all time. He had great work, Lawnmower Man, Body Parts.
Is he also in Planetara, right?
Yeah, he's also in Planetara as well. So is Michael Biehn. But yeah, man, this also has I liked it better. This I like better than Machete Kills. But again, like I said, interviewed Trejo for that movie. That's why I put it on the list. But if I didn't interview Trejo, he wouldn't have made Machete. So, but my favorite part is that hospital scene where he just freaking like fillets somebody and just goes bananas with their intestines. Like only in a Robert Rodriguez movie you're gonna see that happen. It's hilarious. You get to see Steven Seagal fight. Quote unquote.
Which is not saying much.
That's not, no, that's why I did the quotation marks.
You do the one hand move, basically.
Right. And Robert De Niro as a crooked senator. I mean, that's pretty good casting for that. So Machete.
Nick, what do you say about Machete?
I have not seen this movie, but it's good that Robert Rodriguez finally made a movie that has Danny Trejo as the lead. And for that reason and that reason alone, this movie gets a yes for me.
Yeah, just side note, I think my first exposure to Jeff Fahey was the TV show Lost. He played Frank Lapidus.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it's easy yes for Machete. It's the one I would have said yes to if it got back. That would be the one I would have put up next if it got back around to me. And I know people are going to say, "Is like, you should have done one per franchise." If I did one per franchise, there really isn't a top 12 because when you think about it, the Mexico trilogy, the Sin City's like he's mostly done franchises. So yeah, there was always going to be multiple movies of various franchises in here. And yeah, Machete is going to be an easy use for me. Jonathan, what do you say about Machete?
My vote wouldn't matter. I would say yes, though. Like I said, though, he does very well with this film, although he did a little bit too far towards Ward, though. That's what I some of my little bit problems with Machete Kills, though. Although, at least with Machete, it was a good balance along we hit, though. But not be sort of like a carbon copy of his sort of like his fake trailer for Grindhouse. So I'll give it a yes.
But with that closes off the list. Just to recap what we have on the top 12, we've got Sin City, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, From Dusk Till Dawn, Machete Kills, The Faculty, Planet Terror, Alita Battle Angel, Spy Kids, Desperado, El Mariachi, Spy Kids 2, The Island of Lost Dreams, and Machete. Nick, there probably isn't much left, but did you have any honorable mentions?
I just had one that we hadn't brought up. It was going to be my next pick if it got back to me, really scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I said Four Rooms. I know that he co-directed it along with a bunch of other people for a movie that is segmented into several different parts, but I do think it's worth mentioning because I did enjoy that movie a lot. It's like a really fun, off-the-wall kind of comedy. So,
I don't think. Oh no, he did. It didn't occur to me, but yeah, I know. I just double checked because for some reason I thought Robert Rodriguez wasn't. It was Tarantino and three different people, but yeah, no. Robert Rodriguez did co-direct it. which is annoying because I could have finally watched it because it dropped on one of the streaming services I'm subscribed to recently. But that being
You can watch
said,
it.
well, I mean, I probably will still watch it, maybe. But for me, like, I would have brought up Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. I think, like, it's it's a fine sequel. I think it's still pretty good. And then like I probably would have gone sort of off the wall a little bit, and I would have gone for his like his other family movie that he did the movie Shorts, which I think is a fun family kids movie is that he did. But Jonathan, any honorable mentions you would have brought up?
Like I said, there's nothing much on there. Although I will maybe argue maybe Shop Bar Lava Girl there. I rewatched it many years ago. I realized it doesn't hold up as much in some spots. And basically, I remember getting those toys on Happy Meal toys of Shop Bar Lava Girl. I always remember that I was a very young kid. And I also got one of their 3Ds when they had for Shop Bar Lava Girl a long time ago. And plus, I do like the Ava Green segment Sin City 2, The Game to Kill For. I did not care about the rest of the film all that much, although Shorts is probably my least favorite Robert Rodriguez film he's ever done, and I kind of don't like that film all that much. It was scattered all over the place. So, besides that, basically that's it so far.
And Steve, any honorable mentions you would have brought up?
0. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those ones like looking at his filmography, like I was going to blind buy Hypnotic just to watch it, but I don't really feel like I'd rather hire it out first. I mean, it's one of those ones like as Austin has put it, like
Can't hear you.
Really hear you.
We can't hear you, man. I'm in your mic.
yeah.
You got too
My
excited about
mic or something, but yeah, one of the rare I saw that Robert Rodriguez had directed that I was considering watching for this was he directed the Billie Eilish concert special Happily Ever After. Or I think Happily Than Ever, the Love Letter to Los Angeles, the Billie Eilish special. So I was going to randomly watch that, but I decided not to in the end. But it was just one of the random ones I saw that came out that he directed. Like, that's interesting. But anyway, time to vote. Don't think anyone in the chat, so if there's ties, I will be going to a reel. But Nick, what do you think should be at 12?
What with Mariachi?
I've also got El Mariachi. Jonathan,
I wrote Machete Kills.
and Steve.
I also wrote Machete Kills.
Oh, it's a time.
That tie straight off the bat.
All right. And
What do we do? Just flip a coin?
I'm setting up a reel with both of those movies on it.
Okay.
No, I mean normally we would have 5 people anyway, but I kind of struggled to get that last person.
Oh yeah. My brother said he was gonna do this if he wasn't busy. So.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. But I'm gonna spin the wheel. I put each movie in multiple times just so they've all got an equal fair shot. And it is going to be Machete Kills.
Boom.
boom.
Oh, okay. Apparently we did have someone in the chat, but it wouldn't have changed anything. Because Leah would have gone machete kills as well. But I've still got El Mariachi. Jonathan.
Wait, I haven't finished. Hold on. El Mariachi.
Steve.
El Mariachi.
Nick.
El Mariachi.
It's going to be a clean sweep there. Now we go on to number 10.
Bless me. Excuse me. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Jonathan, what do you have for 10?
Mariachi. I mean machete. Sorry.
Steve, what do you have for 10?
Alita.
Nick.
Set from Dusk Till Dawn.
I also went Alita Battle Angel.
Dang.
So Alita Battle Angel is going to be a 10. Steve, what do you have for 9?
Spy Kids 2.
Nick, what do you have for 9?
It said The Faculty.
I also said Spy Kids 2. Jonathan.
Kill me, guys. Machete.
But it is going to be Spy Kids 2. Nick, what do you have for 8?
The Faculty.
I've got Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Jonathan.
Machete again.
Spy
Steve.
Kids.
Well, we've got a 4-way tie. Leo, we've got Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Spy Kids, Machete, and the Faculty. Which of those 4 do you want at 8? I will set up the wheel just so we're not wasting time just sort of waiting, but he's already and it's going to be Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Nick, what do you have for 7? Nick.
Sorry. The Faculty.
I've got Spy Kids, Jonathan.
Machete.
And Steve.
Spy Kids.
Spy Kids is going to be 7. Jonathan, what do you have for 6?
Third time's the charm. Machete.
Steve,
The Faculty.
Nick.
The Machete.
I went from dusk till dawn, but Machete is going to be 6. Steve, what do you have for number 5?
The Faculty.
Nick,
The Faculty.
from dusk till dawn. Jonathan,
I think I messed up. I wrote Spy Kids, but I think I already did it. I messed up.
yeah, Spikers is at 7.
Sorry, got a little mixed up. Sorry about
That's
that.
all good.
All right.
Just to recap what's left, we've got Sin City, from dusk till dawn, The Faculty, Planet Terror, and Desperado.
Okay. All right. Oh, homage. Hold on. Faculty.
The Faculty is going to be at 5. Nick, what do you have for 4?
So Planet Terror.
I went from dusk till dawn. Jonathan,
Planet Terror.
Steve,
Planet Terror.
for number 3, I'm sticking with From Dusk Till Dawn. Jonathan,
Hold on. Sorry. But that's still on.
Steve,
Desperado.
Nick,
From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn is going to be 3. And then instead of voting for number 2, we're going to go straight to number 1. And at this point, it might.
So we're
be
voting for
obvious
number
what
1?
is going to-
Yeah.
We're voting
Okay.
for number 1. Yeah. Jonathan, what do you have for number 1?
Run down right here. I'm going to the land of Sin City.
Steve,
I think one of the best films of the 2000s. Sin City.
Nick,
Desperado.
Sin City. So Sin City is going to be number 1. Desperado is going to be 2.
I can live with that.
But just to recap, how the list has shaken out. At number 12, we've got Machete Kills. At 11, we've got El Mariachi. At 9, we've got Lita Battle Angel. At 10, we've got Lita Battle Angel. So at 9, we've got Spy Kids Islands Lost Dreams. At 8, we've got Once Upon a Time in Mexico. At 7, we've got Spy Kids. At 6, we've got Machete. At 5, we've got The Faculty. At 4, we've got Planet Terror. At 3, we've got From Dusk Till Dawn. At 2, we've got Desperado. And number 1 is Sin City. But with that, next week's episode of Rankin is going to be a franchise rank of the Saw movies. Jonathan, we can be on you online.
You can see on my screen. You can follow this on my socials, Jetpet1098, and you can find me on Facebook, Jonathan Peck. And you might see me judging some matches, or some of them, at Booby Battleground and TNG Entertainment. So that's it on my part. I'm about to say.
Steve, where can people find you online?
They can find me at Mesa Media One. I am the best camera operator editor to come out of the state of Florida. So if you need anything that regards movie mashups, highlight reels, some great action sequences mixed together, which don't make sense whatsoever, but you just love it anyways. Yeah, hit me up, and I do commissions. So just hit me up on the socials at Mesa Media One on Facebook, Mesa Media One on DX, and at smesa85 on Instagram.
Nick, where can people find you online?
You can find me either here on Rankum or you can find me on the ASAT or in different movie trivia leagues. I'm also going to be part of Movie Battleground here coming up soon, so keep your eyes peeled.
And yeah, you can find me on Tape for Productions. I host Rankum every week. Next week, as I said earlier, it's going to be a franchise ring of the Saw movies. But you can also find me on the Movie Hero Network. Where I pop up from time to time. This week we're going to be doing a continuing the latter series, and we're going to delve into the realm of 2007. And you can also sort of find me over on Full Metal. I host Full Metal Singles and Full Metal Random. Eventually, that is going to come back. I just took a bit of a break while I was doing the tournament. But we're almost done with round one. Well, we've almost finished recording round one. But until next time, just keep watching movies and keep listening shit as I go out with this one.